Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1975B, and today's date is September 20th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Setup Complete, Ukrainian Scandal Revealed, Deep State Whistleblower Agenda Fail. Now, over the last 30 days, Capital One, the Central Bank of Europe, and the great state of Texas have all been hacked in major data breaches. This is starting to get really out of control, guys. Who's going to be next? VPNs can be used to shield your browsing activity from prying eyes. Here, let me show you how easy this is. Go to Virtual Shield, download the free 30-day trial, install it, and click Connect. This month, Virtual Shield is offering the anniversary special of 30% off all VPN plans. Sign up for a free 30-day trial to Virtual Shield VPN and see what the hype is about. You have nothing to lose. Click on the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse, political, and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, they have lost control of the narrative. The control is now in the patriots' court. And Adam Schiff is trying to regain it somehow, some way, by pushing this whistleblower hit job. He's using the mainstream media to push this to make it seem like Trump was dealing with a foreign leader, most likely Ukraine, and he did something illegal. Now, remember, the president's job is to talk to foreign leaders. But the deep state wants everyone to believe something underhanded took place. And we might have an idea of who this individual is. And we also come to understand that as Adam Schiff put this plan into motion, the patriots countered this plan. They heard the chatter, they understood what was happening, and they flipped it. And they did this on purpose. They wanted to bring certain players out into the open. They wanted all this out into the open, so the mainstream media had to start mentioning it, even though they don't want to. And we're going to be talking about this a little bit later in this report. But first, let's talk about how more individuals are deciding, you know something, the presidential run is not for me. And it seems like Bill DeBlasio is not going to run in the 2020 presidential election. He decided he is out, and Trump tweeted out the following. Oh no, really big political news, perhaps the biggest story in years. Part-time mayor of New York City, Bill DeBlasio, who was polling at a solid 0 but had tremendous room for growth, has shocking dropped out of the presidential race. New York City is devastated. He's coming home. And as you can see, we're going to see a lot of these individuals that have been running for the presidential race. They're going to have no choice but to drop out. We're going to see more resignations because what is happening right now? Everything is starting to fall apart. And then we have Ed Buck. He was arrested. And we know that he was a big donor for the Democratic Party. He's friends with the Clintons. And the U.S. Attorney has given an update on Ed Buck. Take a listen.
As you have reported earlier this week, Ed Buck, a man known in political circles for his support of various causes in Los Angeles, was arrested Tuesday on state charges alleging that he operated a drug den, among other charges. Today I am announcing a federal case against Mr. Buck, a case that charges him with distributing methamphetamine that directly resulted in the overdose death of Jamel Moore, a 26-year-old man who died in Mr. Buck's West Hollywood apartment on July 27, 2017. As a result of the case filed last night in the United States District Court, District Attorney Jackie Lacey agreed that Mr. Buck should be transferred to federal custody to face charges that carry a mandatory minimum sentence of 20 years in federal prison and a maximum of life in prison without parole. Mr. Buck is now in federal custody, and he is making his first appearance in federal court this afternoon.
Now, we need to remember that Ed Buck, he has a lot of dirt on a lot of people. He was arraigned today, and he was wearing which looked like a bulletproof vest in court. Why would he be wearing something like that? Because I do believe that those in certain places of power, they might be making a move on Ed Buck, just like they did with Epstein. Because, again, they don't want him to talk. And we'll have to see how this all plays out here. Judicial Watch, has not let up on Representative Omar. They have expanded the request on the ethics violation. Judicial Watch requested an ethics investigation into whether Representative Omar improperly used campaign funds for her paramour, Tim Minette. Judicial Watch expanded their request for an ethics investigation into Omar after previously demanding a probe into allegations of marriage fraud, immigration fraud, tax fraud, and identity fraud. There is overwhelming evidence that Omar married her own brother to defraud U.S. immigration. She also may have perjured herself several times in her divorce statements. Judicial Watch says there's enough evidence for the Justice Department to launch a criminal investigation into Representative Omar. And this is what they announced, that it hand-delivered a letter to the U.S. House of Representatives Office of Congressional Ethics calling for further investigation of Representative Omar over new allegations that her alleged lover, Tim Minette, received nearly $230,000 from her campaign since July 2018. The latest letter supplements Judicial Watch's July complaint, and we'll have to see how this all plays out. Now, we know that Adam Schiff, with the help of the mainstream media, they're pushing the whistleblower angle. That this will show that Trump is colluding with a foreign government. The last refuge might have figured out who this whistleblower might be. So looking at the timing, the prior events, prior political advocacy, prior political demands, and protestations, and prior alignment by the Democrats toward an intelligence official, the connections would indicate lawfare alignment with former ODNI Principal Deputy Director Sue Gordon. However, that's just a guess, he's saying. Now, we need to think about this. They wanted Sue Gordon to take over for Dan Coats, but Trump didn't follow through. And remember, Trump let everyone know he understands that there are many different intelligence agencies listening in on his conversations. So Sue Gordon most likely says, "Ooh, I have some information. He was talking to the new Ukrainian president and something is about to happen." And what happened here was Adam Schiff got the information. He leaked it out to the press. And this is how it all works. Think about the process. Since Gordon and the deep state didn't get what they wanted, they wanted her in this position, they decided to set out on this plan like they always do. Adam Schiff gets the leak information. He sends it out to the mainstream media. The mainstream media continually repeats this over and over, making it seem like they have something. It's going to be damaging. Of course, there's nothing there, but they make it really, really big, like something's going down, and we finally got Trump. And they repeat this over and over again to make people believe this. And then what happens? Well, the news breaks. The question is, when? They're most likely timing this, but for what? We know the next report is coming from Barr. Are they going to use this to try to clog the news cycles from when the next report comes out? But will this work? No. And we'll be talking about this in a little bit. And remember, Trump, the Patriots, they knew exactly what they were doing. And they countered their moves, and they allowed certain individuals to expose themselves. And this whole thing is going to be coming down around them. And in the end, Barr will have the facts, Adam Schiff will have propaganda, and the narrative will still be controlled by the Patriots. Truth and facts will always override fake news propaganda. And we'll be discussing this a little bit later in this report. Now, the latest Freedom of Information Act docs show something very interesting. In June of 2017, then Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein decried leaks and said Americans should exercise caution before accepting as true any stories attributed to anonymous officials. Now, through the Freedom of Information Act request, a tranche of emails from the Justice Department shows Rosenstein offering to be one of the anonymous officials. About 2 weeks before Rosenstein appointed Robert Mueller as special counsel, he emailed a reporter, the name is redacted, and told them he would be open to giving off the record background or reportable details. In another email dated May 12, 2017, leading up to his appointment of Mueller, Rosenstein responded to a reporter asking about CNN story, claiming he stated that he did not see the need for a special prosecutor. Off the record, I have not said anything about that, Rosenstein responded. So we can see that from these Freedom of Information Act requests, we're getting a lot of the story. And all of this is continually coming out, bringing the people on board to what was really going on. Now, a couple of reports back, we said the deep state and the mainstream media will go after the investigators. They'll try to hit at their reputation, they'll try to discredit them, and it has begun. Andrew McCabe suggested that Michael Horowitz should be replaced as Justice Department Inspector General. He said he has problems with Horowitz. He said it is essential that every element of the executive branch, each one of the agencies, has a fair and competent and independent Inspector General, and this situation really shines a light on that requirement. He jabbed at Horowitz, and remember, he was appointed by Obama. And he says, I hope the Department of Justice gets the sort of Inspector General sometime soon. Think about what he's trying to do here. He's trying to make everyone believe there's something wrong with Horowitz, that he's not fit for this position. They're going to do this to Barr. They're going to do this to many other individuals because this is all they have left. Paul Sperry tweeted out the following. McCabe said on CNN, without a hint of irony, this president has a history of treating classified information and sensitive information questionably at best. This from a guy who whitewashed Hillary's criminal mishandling of classified emails. I mean, think of what these people are trying to do here. They're trying to take everything that's coming at them and deflect it back onto Trump, back onto the investigators that are investigating their crimes. It's not going to work. They're doomed. Now, it seems that Julian Assange and Seth Rich and everything about what was going on with the DNC, it looks like this is going to be coming back into the news very, very soon. Let's just quickly review. Texas businessman Ed Butowski filed a lawsuit where he outed reporter Ellen Ratner as his source for information on Seth Rich. The DNC operative was murdered in the summer of 2016 in Washington, D.C. His murder was never solved. Now, according to the lawsuit, Seth Rich provided WikiLeaks the DNC emails before the 2016 election, not Russia. Remember, Ellen Ratner was sitting there telling everyone that she met with Julian Assange back in November 9, 2016. And she said, yeah, we spoke for 3 hours. And Julian Assange told her that the leaks were not from Russia. They were from an internal source, from the Hillary campaign. Now Butowski and his attorney, Ty Clevenger, requested and obtained documents from the FBI related to their case, and they were able to analyze these. These newly released documents from the FBI suggest that Obama, his White House, pushed intelligence agencies to publicly blame the Russians for emails, leaks from the Democratic National Committee to WikiLeaks. And the attorney said, this afternoon, I received an undated and heavily redacted transcript of an interview of James Rubicki, former chief of staff to former FBI Director James Comey, that includes this excerpt. So we understand that at some point in October of 2016, there was, I guess, a desire by the White House to make some kind of statement about Russia's, and then the next page is omitted. The comment is made by an unidentified prosecutor from the U.S. Office of Special Counsel, or OSC, not to be confused with the Office of former Special Counsel Robert Mueller. The OSC is a permanent office that investigates Hatch Act violations, and Mr. Comey was under investigation for trying to influence the 2016 presidential election. Now, attorney Ty Clevenger has requested documents again from the FBI related to any communications related to the death of Seth Rich. Clevenger claims that the FBI did not perform its search in good faith. Remember, the FBI said, we really can't find anything, and the things that you want, well, That's national security. And Ty Clevenger is saying, listen, we need to have these documents. And he doesn't believe that they actually search for them. We need to go back to post 1591. And this was June 26, 2018. And Q back then says, Julian Assange in the news. Think James Comey. Server unlocks Seth Rich. MS-13 phones unlock command and control. Looks like MS-13 might have been hired to do the 187 on Seth Rich. ETA estimated it has begun. So I do believe that we're going to start to hear a lot about Seth Rich, Julian Assange, DNC, and I think there's going to be a lot of information coming out very, very soon. Now, it looks like Trump just got another win with his taxes. Yesterday, we reported on how the New York judge put the kibosh on New York trying to get the taxes from his accounting firm. And today we learn a federal judge temporarily blocked California's law requiring presidential candidates to disclose their tax returns in order to gain a spot on the primary ballot. Boom. Everything has been stopped in its tracks. Now, the mainstream media, they're trying to spin a story that Colt is going to stop producing the AR-15 because they're feeling the pressure from the gun control individuals. But that is not the case whatsoever. First of all, they decided they were going to stop producing the AR-15 because they're saying that the entire civilian market is saturated with other manufacturers that are creating the AR-15. Right now, approximately about 288 manufacturers produce the AR-15 worldwide. Colt is not doing well in that market, and they decided to concentrate their efforts with government contracts. And by the way, for those that don't know this, AR does not stand for assault rifle. It stands for Armalite rifle, after the original designing company. So I know the mainstream media is out there saying assault rifle, and everyone's saying, ooh, AR is an assault rifle 15. No, it's Armalite rifle, and that is from the original designing company. So don't get that confused. Now, we know there are 30 or so U.S. attorneys general looking into Google and other big tech companies. Trump had a meeting with Zuckerberg recently, and they talked about what they've been doing. And we know that Trump has been hitting the big tech companies very, very hard as he tweets out. And we need to go back to post 1841. And this is back in August of 2018. This is the picture of the illusion of choice, where it shows the 6 different media companies, all controlled, and they control other media companies, saying that there is no choice, it's all pre-planned. But below this, it says fake news consolidation, define antitrust, define Sherman Act, and it says reconcile Google, Facebook, Twitter, change we can believe in. And it seems that this is moving forward. And it seems that Facebook is trying to get ahead of what is coming, because now they're creating an oversight board to monitor content decisions. It's almost like a Supreme Court. So Facebook is going to say, okay, yeah, we don't believe this should be on our platform. And then if you don't like this, you can move this to their Supreme Court, and they can make a decision, and they might override Facebook's decision. Now again, who are the individuals in these positions? Is Facebook choosing them? Is Facebook paying them? Yes, they're saying they're putting together a trust to pay for all of this. But again, we've seen this before in the court system, where there are certain individuals that are put into place, they're blackmailed, and they make certain decisions. But it looks like they're trying to get ahead of this because they know what's coming. Now, out in Canada, it seems like Justin Trudeau, he is in trouble right now. There are a lot of pics that have been leaked out where he's dressed up in different costumes. He has blackface or brownface. And what's very interesting is that the Canadian elections, they're coming up in October. Where were these pictures when he was first elected? Why weren't they put out there? Why were they put out there now. I guess timing is everything. Remember, he's part of the deep state. And it's very interesting how all of this is coming out now, and he is on the defensive. And there are many different mainstream media outlets hitting him very, very hard. Actually, NBC said, listen, he was scheduled to make an appearance, and they canceled it. And they don't know when he's going to come back. And it looks like timing is everything. Now, let's move on to this whistleblower and what is happening here. Very interestingly, the Trump administration, who suspended the Ukrainian Security Assistance Initiative, they decided to release the funds to Ukraine. Remember, Poroshenko is out, Zelensky is in. Trump and Zelensky have a good working relationship. And since Poroshenko is out, we see that Trump and the patriots can now work with this new president and get information on what happened in Ukraine. Now, this brings us back to the whistleblower complaint. Trump is out there and he's dismissing the whistleblower complaint, and he's saying, listen, don't worry about the whistleblower complaint. That's going to be nothing. I know there are people listening to me. Where we should be looking is Ukraine. We should focus on Joe Biden and his ties to Ukraine, Clinton and her ties, Obama and his ties. And he said, it doesn't matter what I discussed, but I'll tell you this, somebody ought to look into Joe Biden's statement. The president added that his conversation with foreign leaders are always appropriate. Now, think about this for a second. Let's go back to post 3324. Now, this was put out April 25th, 2019. Q gave us an article from The Hill, how the Obama White House engaged Ukraine to give Russia collusion narrative an early boost. Let me just read the first part of it. According to Telezinko, U.S. officials told the Ukrainians they would prefer that Kiev drop the Burisma probe and allow the FBI to take it over. The Ukrainians did not agree, but then Joe Biden pressured Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko to fire Ukraine's chief prosecutor in March of 2016. And remember, Obama withheld funds and forced Poroshenko and forced them to change and not pursue the investigation. Under this, it says Hussein in all capitals and kill brackets. Now, Rudy Giuliani, he was on CNN and he railed against Chris Cuomo on his refusal to cover the Biden family corruption in Ukraine. Why is this all coming out right now? Because Trump and the Patriots knew that Adam Schiff, the deep state players, were going to use this, and they flipped it. And they used it to force the issue out into the open and to bring the players out into the open. They're hoping that these individuals will start to project. And guess what? They got exactly what they wanted. Hillary Clinton tweeted out, the president asked a foreign power to help him win an election. No, that's not what Trump did. He didn't ask a foreign power to help him win an election. He didn't ask the Ukrainian individual to help win an election. That's not what he was doing. But that's what Clinton was doing. That's what Obama was doing. And Biden, he has his own problems. Trump responded. The radical left Democrats and their fake news media partners, headed up again by little Adam Schiff, and batting 0 for 21 against me, are at it again. They think I may have had a dicey conversation with a certain foreign leader based on a highly partisan whistleblower's statement. Strange that with so many other people hearing or knowing of the perfectly fine and respectful conversation, that they would not have come forward. Do you know the reason why they did not? Because there was nothing said wrong. It was pitch perfect. Do you see what Trump and the Patriots just did? They made the deep state expose themselves. Hillary Clinton is panicking. She's projecting what she, Biden, and Obama did. This is a beautiful setup. The patriots heard the chatter and counted everything they were trying to do. And now they're exposing themselves. And guess what? Joe Biden's 2020 Ukrainian nightmare, a closed probe has been revived. And they're looking into all of this. And now Giuliani's out there saying, listen, you need to report this. You're not reporting it because you don't want to admit it. There's a reason why they did all this. They're trapping them in their own agenda. And they just did it. Now they're going to have to try to explain this. Of course, they're going to try to spin it. But it's going to become more and more difficult. They wanted to bring this out into the open. And they accomplished this. And remember, there's a lot there. If we go back to some of Q's posts, Biden, China, that's a marker. Biden, Ukraine, that's a marker. We're hitting that marker. It's all going to start to fall apart. Remember, they're dripping all of this out. They're going to hit them from every angle. And they're going to have to defend each and every single thing they did. Look how difficult it's going to get. It's going to get a lot worse. Enjoy the show. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.